The Department of Social Development was, meanwhile, involved in a very different day yesterday. In fact, it was World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. The Minister of Social Development, Lindiwe Zulu, is urging South Africans to defend the elderly against abuse by protecting and upholding their rights. And the Minister joining us now. Minister, thank you. Let's start with today, with Youth Day. I understand that you were part of celebrations and you took a group of young people who are SASA beneficiaries to that commemoration in the Free State. Tell us more.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, as the Minister of Social Development, we are not only responsible for the elderly in terms of their safety and in terms of their the space in which they live in, working together obviously with other departments, but as you're asking me the specific question about the youth today, we have decided, or rather let me say, I decided that we are responsible for ensuring that young people or learners from the first grade up to grade 12 who are supported by the state from a point of view of they are beneficiaries of the social grants and the SASA grants in particular. I have been thinking that sometimes we wait until too long to expose them to their future. And their future is when they finish school, what do they then do? And these ones being the grant beneficiaries and many of them also attending the non-paying schools. It is in our responsibility as the Department of Social Development to be concerned about their well-being, to be concerned about the education, but most importantly, to be concerned about what do they do once they come out of our hands, and that is the hands of being supported by government through SASA in payment of the social grants to the parents who are taking care of them or the caregivers who are taking them. Because the department participated fully today, we thought, and I thought it would be important for us to take the SASA grant beneficiaries and expose them to the exhibitions that were taking place here. And the exhibitions were very much focused on what opportunities exist for young people. It was issues of science and technology. It was issues of NEF also being there. And it was issues of IDC also being there. It was also defense being there. So I thought that it might be important for them while they are still at school. Why not bring them to this exposure where they also are going to be meeting with other children? In fact, the most important thing that I was trying to raise here, let me say, I learned that some of these children are being victimized or stigmatized for being grant beneficiaries. And I'm trying to say, being grant beneficiaries is not what's going to determine their future. What will determine their future is for them to focus on their education and focus towards the future. So they were very excited to be exposed to the celebrations today.
But Minister, very quickly, so some of them may see an opportunity somewhere, but the big determinant here is that South Africa has this incredibly high unemployment rate for young people, over 60%. And what is your response to our analyst earlier, Dr. Ngwane, who said that the current government, by failing to ensure economic participation for young people, has really stolen their hope, in a sense?
Hope can never be stolen by anybody who knows where they come from, where they are, and where they are going. The future can never be stolen from people who get empowered to power themselves, to look for opportunities. Yes, the economy of South Africa is not doing very well. And yes, by the way, it's not the only economy that's not doing very well. The fact that the economy is not doing well, the fact that there's so much unemployment should not make us moan and groan and complain. It should make us get out there collectively, by the way, because the responsibility of ensuring the future of young people today does not necessarily lie with government alone. And yes, government must take responsibility where it has said it will take responsibility. Education should be our responsibility particularly, and look at what has been the past 30 years, Where have we succeeded? Where have we failed? What's the next 30 years going to look like? And that's why, as a Department of Social Development, we're looking at the grant beneficiaries who are being supported by government to go to school, to say to them, yes, the future, the current situation might look glim and bleak for you, but look, the future will happen. Because for those of us who are generation of June 76, we can tell you what it was then, and we can tell you what the difference is between then and now, and we can also tell you how we see the future for these young people. And so these young people must not be dragged by us and our arguments about the future. They must also participate in shaping that future that they want for South Africa.
Minister, very quickly, we have to talk about yesterday as well, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And I'm really fascinated because we talk about the youth bulge in Africa, but actually we have an aging population. I mean, how are we treating old people? Very quickly.
Yes, we've got the older population growing, and that's why the Department of Social Development has got a special focus in ensuring that we must protect the elderly, in ensuring that communities, societies, families must do everything they can to make sure that they take care of the elderly. I wish to thank all the NPOs and all the organizations that really get up and do something about it. And of course, my department is one that supports the NPOs and the NGOs. And I also wish to thank the social workers who you find in many of the elderly homes and those who do home visits to make sure that things are fine with the elderly. And of course, we support them through the grants, but that's not enough because they need safety and security in their homes. They need safety and security on the streets. But first and foremost, it is our communities and society that needs to step up and support government, support NPOs and NGOs who are supporting the elderly. Let us respect them and give them the dignity they deserve, because many of them are responsible for having brought us to where we are today as today's people and the future of tomorrow.
All right, Social Development Minister Lindiwe Zulu, thank you for being with us on The Full View.